Welcome to Blast Zone Briefs, your in-depth guide into new blast zones in the Fallout 76 wasteland. After taking a bit of a break to excise some demons from our external hard drives, we're back to new Cranberry Bog North to see what kinds of flux it offers and the types of enemies that you can expect to encounter. So suit up, get your nuclear keycards ready, and join us as we head into a new blast zone. When choosing where to position a blast zone for Cranberry Bog North, we ultimately decided to center the blast zone at Max Farm. This approach allows for a high number of locations to be included in the blast zone, including a Fisher site and potential Wendigo Colossus spawn point, while also ensuring that the zone includes two clusters of Crimson Flux, one located near Max Farm and the other near the Sundew Grove. This is particularly useful if you've acquired and primed any of the new gauss weaponry, as you'll need stabilized Crimson Flux to craft the associated ultracite ammo. In terms of flux, this zone is a great place to farm both Crimson and Violet, as you'll find substantial amounts of both near the center of the zone, as well as spread out along the sides. You can also find small amounts of Yellow Cake and Fluorescent spread throughout the zone, but when it comes to Cobalt, I wouldn't waste my time, as you most likely won't be able to find enough of it in raw form to stabilize a single piece. As always, remember to equip the Green Thumb perk card when harvesting raw flux to double the amount received, and then the Super Duper perk when crafting stabilized pieces for up to a 30% chance to get an extra piece each time you craft. To support your farming efforts, this blast zone includes several locations to find enemies at, which you'll need for getting all of Flux's additional crafting materials. You'll find the largest concentrations at the General Steakhouse and the Sundew Grove, along with pockets at Firebase LT, Max Farm, Bootlegger's Shack, and Fisher Site Epsilon. You'll also find additional Scorch Beast spawns at the smaller Fisher Site located just to the south of the Sundew Grove. As with other Fisher sites, picking any of the ultracite veins around the Fisher will trigger a small wave of Scorched, which can be helpful in farming any last-minute materials needed for stabilization. Just make sure to engage them inside the blast zone so that they drop the extra materials. In regards to the other types of enemies that you can expect, the General Steakhouse will primarily contain super mutants, as well as some floaters on the southern side of the building. Firebase LT will generally contain Scorched. Max Farm will contain Mirelurks, including Mirelurk Kings and a Glowing Queen. Fisher Site Epsilon will contain Scorched and Scorch Beasts. The Bootlegger Shack will contain Scorched as well as other rotating enemy types outside of the shack. And the Sundew Grove will contain a rotating set of one or multiple enemy types, which may include super mutants, robots, Mirelurks, glowing ones, gulpers, or insects, among others. While datamine maps do show the Grove as a potential spawn point for a Wendigo Colossus, I was unable to actually spawn one, even after nuking the area 5 separate times and frequently clearing the location of other spawns, so I wouldn't recommend this location if encountering a Colossus is one of your primary goals. You'll be much better off using a single nuke to simultaneously strike the crater next to the monorail elevator and summit to the south of Huntersville. Ultimately, Cranberry Bog North is a great place to nuke if your end goal is to farm Crimson Flux without having to deal with the same level of enemies that you'd encounter at the White Spring Resort or in-game bosses encountered at Fisher Site Prime. You'll still find enemies, but overall spend less ammo killing them than you would in other optimal Crimson locations. If you're like me and your gal's minigun has been eating through ultracite 2mm EC cartridges at an alarming rate, this is a great place to farm the Crimson Flux needed to craft new ammo, as well as pick up some Violet for other applications. It's not an overly exciting nuke zone, but considering most of the new weapons require EC cartridges, which you can generally extend by priming your receivers, it's not a bad place to do the increased level of farming that using ultracite ammo ultimately requires. That's it for this brief. If you found this video helpful and would like to be notified when we post new content, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so that you're notified every time we post a new video. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, for the Enclave.